Disability inclusion is not just the right thing to do, but it's the moral thing to do.
It's a responsibility, first of all, for everybody.
Personally, as a person living with a disability, I have struggled with inclusion to the extent that maybe I thought, well, this is the destiny of somebody with a disability.
Much as it might look like a culture that has evolved and is more accepting and more embracing of persons with disabilities, but you find that a lot of people are not exposed.
Once persons with disability are included in different programs, like in employment sector, livelihood programs, and they can be able to stand on themselves, like work for themselves, then that creates independency.
If you look at the communities in which we operate in as a company, for example, it's composed of different people from different age groups, from different age experiences, and also it's composed of people with disabilities.
And they are very bright and they do things like other people do, and actually some of them do better than others.
So disability inclusion goes a long way to ensure that the minorities within the community are given an opportunity to advance both economically and professionally.
Creating that accessibility that can enable them benefit equally with the rest.
It is my right to be included, to have a right to education. I have a right to get a good job as long as I qualify for it. I have a right to enjoy the goodness just like everybody else.
I'm happy that we are finally at a place where we are having these conversations and trying to find different ways to break down the barriers that limit people with disability from accessing certain opportunities.
The 12.4% is the total population of persons with disabilities in Uganda currently. And the Make 12.4% work, this is an initiative that was made to trigger different companies, organizations, private sectors, and NGOs to become inclusive in all their programs.
Our journey on disability inclusion is greatly attributed to our partnership with Light for the World.
When we first started on this journey, we really didn't know where to begin. And so we thought the best thing to do would be to speak to people who work with people with disability and are trying to spearhead some of this inclusion.
So on December 3rd, 2019 is when UBL signed on to the Make 12.4% initiative work with Light for the World. And on that day is when we also signed the proof of commitment. And in there, we had committed to ensure that 5% of all our new hires are people with disabilities.
Because Youth to Work program is an inclusive program, we have been able to partner with Light for the World during info sessions where we have been able to guide and answer questions related to our recruitment process. From aspects like training the staff members on how best to work with young people with disabilities, to being involved in our recruitment process, for example, telling us exactly what an application would look like, an inclusive application form would look like.
We currently have just over 450 staff who have been trained on disability and inclusion. We are trying to get to a point where we have trained our entire staff.
Our focus or target, we look at 300,000 youth enabled to secure dignified and fulfilled work. And out of the 300,000 youth we are targeting, 5% they are youth with disability.
Persons with disabilities are here. They are educated, they have potentials, they have skills, but they are not employed. So within that, we come in to see where are the challenges. They will tell us this is the challenge, and then we sit down to solve those challenges. And this has been done through a pool of disability inclusion facilitators who have been working together with the companies, private sectors, organizations to give them a pull, to give them a hand to ensure that the Make 12.4% initiative works.
So as an educational care coordinator, every time I have an opportunity to speak to teachers, I speak to them about inclusiveness. When I visit schools, I ask, do you have children with disability in this place? And some schools will be like, no. And I ask, are you sure? How sure are you? What do you understand by disability?
Massive impact actually, because we usually run an inclusion and diversity survey, and last year, that's 2021, our index was standing at 85%, but in this year, when we run just in April, our inclusion and diversity index is now at 88%.
With the skills that they get from the program, with the skills that they have been able to get, and these are tangible skills that you can see because a person can do the program, create for your website and all of that. We've been able to see more opportunities for them to grow their careers, and the possibility of them getting into jobs that are better paying has also been, we are closer to achieving that now.
So for me personally, it helped me first of all attain different skills such as ICT skills, and later it helped me have a work placement here at Stanbic Bank.
It has impacted my life in a positive way, in a greatly positive way. You know, we persons with disabilities find it very hard entering into job placements.
I've learned how to manage people. I've learned how to work with people. I have learned how different departments coordinate with each other. They can connect for better deliveries. I have learned the HR record management, the confidentiality of all that. I've learned lots of things.
I really didn't dream of such a great company working with it. It's only through Make the 12.4%. This is a great initiative.
Personally, I have become more aware of my rights and my abilities more. Personally, it has encouraged me. You know, when I see what the Light for the World program is doing, I'm encouraged, you know, and it gives me strength to even also put in more effort, see what I can do. How can I be a part of that?
And we have also gone ahead to take our partners in what we call gender and social inclusion responsive budgeting. If, for example, Okello is a youth with disability and he has been invited to participate in a meeting, that means he needs a supporter, a helper. Can we secure that Okello's helper in our budget? This is what we have taken our partners through, and it is successfully implemented.
And now currently, we've seen a number of employers, private sectors, companies, around 200 plus, who have committed themselves to be inclusive in all their programs.
There's been impact to employees because a lot of great conversations around inclusion, a lot of great conversations around employees themselves who might have undisclosed disabilities, bringing them to the forefront, realizing that the bank is more inclusive.
Many of our young persons with disabilities have been employed.
We have also had success hiring a few staff members with disability. All of this, I think, would not have been possible if that first step had not been taken to become part of the 12.4, as well as to engage Light for the World to understand how we do this right.
To other employers or other organizations out there, I would say not knowing how to go about disability inclusion is something that we shouldn't feel ashamed about. However, I would encourage us to be more proactive about trying to find solutions on how best to start this journey.
I would say take time to learn and unlearn. So unlearn some of the basics, so things around terminology. I think that's something that when we had some of these trainings, people struggled with a lot.
You could simply start by reaching out to any organization working with persons with disability like Light for the World to carry out a simple audit of your organization, just to test the awareness of your employees around persons living with disability, or to carry out an audit of your company premises. For example, small things like figuring out whether your toilets are large enough for someone with a wheelchair to access.
So they should embrace people with disabilities, that's disability inclusion, because they are professionally qualified and they can do what it is that you tell them to do. You don't have to worry about, am I going to be telling them do this, do that. Provided you tell them this is what I expect from you, give them the tools that they need, they will flourish.
It's not the outward, it's the inward that matters.
They are performance. I am going to give an example. Like if you give like a deaf person to do something for you, they'll deliver in just a minute, because no noise to distract them. They'll just perform. And some of us will be having physical disabilities on us, but our minds are good.
Reach out to people who have experience in these areas, organizations that have been supporting different private organizations to get better at inclusion, and then set for yourself some goals. So as a bank, there are certain goals that we've set for ourselves. They're aspirational goals, but it's a starting point, right? We want to increase the number of people with disability within the bank, and we've started on that journey. So set yourself goals because they'll hold you accountable.
Because I believe that if we are able to give the 12.4% people with disabilities in Uganda an opportunity, it will go a long way in not just improving our economic standing as a country, but also making sure that the minority groups of people with disabilities are also thought of and catered for.
Let those organizations, companies and private sectors who have committed to be inclusive in their program, let them shine to very many others. I believe there are very many others who are still believing it is impossible to work with persons with disability, but let them be the light